What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warrant Report. For today's video, I want to talk about whether or not us Raptors fans were too critical of Pascal Siakam. Now, I say that because that was his first season as a number one option, and well, we're seeing someone else as a number one option as well. So for today's video, I'm going to compare Pascal Siakam and Julius Randle. I'm going to dig into some of the statistics and talk about whether or not we were a little bit too harsh on Pascal Siakam. So before we get into the details of the video, you know the deal. Give this video a thumbs up as it helps reach more fans across YouTube. And if you could hit that subscribe button as well, you get a lot of Raptors content on here, including latest rumors, latest news, in-depth analysis as well. With that being said, let's get started in today's video. Now, I compare these two players because there's a lot of similarities between these two players. We saw Julius Randle just won the most improved player of the year, and we saw that with Pascal Siakam as well. So I want to talk about some of their statistics being the number one option. So having a look at some of these statistics here. So this was Pascal Siakam's statistics from the regular season last season when we got to see him as the number one option without Kawhi Leonard. You see those points there, 22.9 points, 3.5 assists a game, 7.3 rebounds, and he was taking about 18.4 shots a game while hitting 45.3% of those. And I want you to have a look at Julius Randle's numbers on the right hand side there. Now, Julius Randle is actually has put up better number than Pascal Siakam did as the number one option. He's had a phenomenal season, and some people have even gone as far as to say he should have been in the MVP conversation. And I want you to focus your attention on Julius Randle's field goal attempts, which are very similar to Pascal Siakam. Now you take a look at the field goal percentage as well. They're taking about similar shots, same amount of shots per game, and averaging the same amount of percentages, very similar to each other. Now that plays a big part in the next screen here because you will see their playoff statistics as the number one option. Now Pascal Siakam, we know he had a terrible playoffs in that bubble last season. He was scoring 5.9 points less per game. Now his assist and rebounding actually went up. He was taking about almost two shots less in the playoffs, but his field goal percentage was 5.7% worse than it was in the regular season. But you compare that to Julius Randle, who a lot of Raptors fans were saying Julius Randle is what Pascal Siakam should have been. Julius Randle as the number one option in the playoffs this season. He's averaging 9.4 points less than he did in the regular season. His assists are down as well. Now his rebounding is up, but look at that field goal percentage. 24.1% field goal percentage, and he's shooting 21.5% worse than he did in the regular season, which kind of brings us to the point. Are we being a little bit too critical of Pascal Siakam? We know it's really hard being a number one option, especially in the playoffs when defenses lock down on you. And Julius Randle, who's been getting a lot of comparisons to Pascal Siakam by Raptors fans throughout the season, saying this is what Pascal should have been, is really struggling. Now, I do want to mention this is a small size sample on Julius Randle's behalf. These are only the 3 games he's played in, and it is his first playoffs. So we may cut him a little bit of slack. And if we're to dive a little bit deeper into this, let's take a look at some of the team's defensive ratings that both of these guys went up against. Now, you look at the points allowed. You see Atlanta there at the bottom, at the middle bottom of the screen. They're not a great defensive team, but they are still there. It's not like they're playing a juggernaut defensive team, which have absolutely shut down Julius Randle. He's definitely struggling, but the Atlanta Hawks are a decent, I would say, defensive team. Not a great defensive team, but when you look at the team that Pascal Siakam went against in the playoffs, in the bubble, Boston Celtics were one of the best defensive teams besides the Toronto Raptors. And although you don't see it, Brooklyn Nets were right beneath the Sacramento Kings. So the Brooklyn Nets are not seen in this picture here, but they weren't a great defensive team. But the Boston Celtics still were a really good defensive team. And we saw what they did to Pascal in the bubble. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you think the comparisons between Pascal Siakam and Julius Randle are fair? Do you think Pascal deserves a lot of the hate he's been getting, not only last season, but this season as well? Let me know in that comment section below. And if you're still watching this video, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.